where car buyers love to shop, where low prices are posted as plain as day, and the 150-acre selection is anything but. Where you can drive your selection on a private test track. Some call it incredible, extraordinary, an unbelievable experience. We call it Reedman World Auto Center. Shop the world's largest selection of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and minivans, all at one location. Shop Reedman price and selection. Shop Reedman World Auto Center, Route 1, Langhorne, Pennsylvania.
Do you have the right truck? The 2004 Chevy Silverado now available with Power Packs. Now lease a specially equipped 2004 Chevy Silverado half-ton two-wheel drive regular cab work truck with a work truck discount for around $249 a month. Residency restrictions apply. Call for lease details. Silverado, now available with Power Packs. It's the right truck. Look for the tents at your local Chevy dealer today.
Welcome back to the Weather Channel, 9 before the hour. I'm meteorologist Rick Griffin. Let's get a look at what's happening in the tropics. And we'll begin with our main story, which is Tropical Storm Nicholas. Well, Nicholas is in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, so it's not really a concern to anyone right now except some shipping interest that might happen to be in this region. And Nicholas is undergoing a weakening trend. It's been struggling all day and all night with southwesterly shear, strong winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And although there's quite a bit of thunderstorm activity, it is pretty much all east of the center of circulation. And reports also indicate that especially strong pulse of southwesterly winds aloft will be pushing into the system over the next couple of hours, and that could continue actually accelerate the weakening trend with Nicholas. If you were with us earlier in the evening, you know, Nicholas had 60-mile-an-hour sustained winds. Well, now down to 50. The movement has been very slow and erratic and just kind of at a snail's pace. Last report at 11 o'clock Atlantic Standard Time, north-northwest at 2, and that slow motion is expected to continue for the next couple of days. But eventually Nicholas will probably get caught up and head up into the mid-latitudes and accelerate to the north as that happens. As you can probably tell, it's little, if any, threat to any landmass in the foreseeable future. Nevertheless, we'll monitor the situation for you. Cold front's been sliding through the Bahamas. No big deal here, but as it stalls out over Belize and parts of Central America, some heavy rain may develop. But in terms of a tropical situation developing, that's unlikely because winds are very strong aloft through this region, and that would inhibit any possible tropical development. The Gulf of Mexico free and clear of anything significant, let alone any cloud cover of significance at this time. And out here in the eastern Pacific, a very quiet situation. But east of the Philippines, a tropical storm has developed. It is expected, right now it's got about 45-mile-an-hour, 50-mile-an-hour sustained winds, but it's expected to become a typhoon with 90-knot sustained winds. The good news is here, the track is off to the north and eventually towards the northeast, away from the Philippines. That's the current thinking with our latest tropical storm, east of the Philippines and west of Guam. Back in the States, very quiet conditions. It's kind of typical in October that we have a couple of days where there's not much happening, and except for some light precipitation here in the northeast, which happens to be mainly rain, but there's some snow developing high up in the Adirondacks tonight, where there could be up to an inch of snowfall. It's just light stuff, quarter of an inch, maybe 1 inch of snowfall above 2,000 feet in elevation. That would include, as I mentioned, the Adirondacks and possibly as far south as the Catskills over the highest mountaintops. Even the Berkshires and the Green Mountains could pick up a light dusting of snow on the higher hills and mountains later tonight. New York City, a few showers. Good news there is that all the rain will be over by World Series time tomorrow night. Fair skies in the south. Beautiful weather for Sunday. If you like what's happened the last few days, you'll enjoy Sunday's weather. Here in the Midwest, outstanding. 66 Chicago, 87 in Omaha. A little rain for the Northwest, but otherwise sunny and warm Sunday.
There's more from the Weather Channel at weather.com. More travel updates. More golf features. More forecasts. At work or whenever you're on the web. Get more at weather.com or AOL keyword weather.
The Weather Channel is brought to you by this cable or satellite provider. You can also get reliable forecasts from the Weather Channel.
You hear that?
Yes,
And our hurricane expert, Dr. Steve Lyons, joins us as usual. Dr. Lyons, you know, climatologically, if it were to be active this time of the year, the Caribbean would be one of the hot spots climatologically. What is going on in the Caribbean today?
We've got some scattered showers there, and we've got 60-mile-per-hour winds, Bob. The only problem is the 60-mile-per-hour winds are up at 200 millibars, which is about 40,000 feet. That's a problem for tropical development anyway, not a problem for your vacation in the Bahamas or into the Caribbean. Now, here's the pattern of satellite imagery here. I'm going to put a few surface features on here. You can see a big cold front is pushed all the way through Florida, is now pushing past the Bahamas. A few showers still left in the Turks and Caicos. And then back here where the two winds converge, the northeasterly winds and the trade winds converge, that's called a shear line, and that's producing some showers near Belize, but these are rather minor. But let's look aloft here. Look at the winds coming across the Gulf of Mexico, 60, 70 miles per hour, and those are going to increase over the next 4 to 5 days. With that next trough coming in, we're going to have 90-mile-per-hour winds over Florida. That's a barrier for any tropical cyclone activity. So it looks pretty good for the United States. But we do have a tropical storm out there. Notice the Antilles is having this little patch of showers go through. That's not going to develop because the upper winds there are also fast. But here's our tropical storm out in the Atlantic, winds 50 miles per hour. And notice it too is under some fairly fast westerly wind shear, which is rather typical of late fall. Let's zoom in on that. Notice the speed of motion north-northwest at 2 miles per hour. And you say, Steve, we've had this big heavy thunderstorm area over this circulation for a few days now. What's going on out there? The problem with why it's not developing is because all the heating from these thunderstorms are being blown away to the east. Notice all these fast winds blowing the heating away, so the system is not developing. We expect it to continue to meander around out there and eventually go to the north, not affecting the islands whatsoever. We can see in the eastern Pacific we have one feature of interest down here for mariners anyway. This is a low pressure center. It's well to the south of the Gulf of Tehuantepec, and it's going to continue to move off toward the west slowly. If it were to develop, it would go northwest, but showing no signs of that right now. So we're in good shape, Bob. Hillary.
Thank you, Dr. Lyons.
We'll see you again at 7:50 for the very latest. Now, there's more ahead this morning right here on the Weather Channel. Coming up later in Weekend Planner, we're catching up with Kelsey Kinsley, who's in Boston for the head of the Charles Regatta.
But first, record high heat in the southwest, and the temperatures just keep on creeping upward. We'll take a look at who's getting hit the hardest, find out where the warmest spots are in the country next.
It's easy to access weather.com on America Online. Just enter keyword weather or point and click. It's so simple you can quickly check the weather online and still have plenty of time left over to get outside and enjoy it. Weather.com on America Online. Keyword weather.
The Weather Channel is brought to you by this cable or satellite provider. You can also get reliable forecasts from the Weather Channel through this radio station.
Why do we work? Why do we get up every day and go to work? Because we make things, fix things, send our kids off to learn things. At the Principal Financial Group, we know you don't just work to retire, you work to live. That's why we give people the financial tools to help them keep more of the money they make and do more with the money they save. You work hard. We make work hard for you. The Principal Financial Group. We understand what you're working for.
Hi, Billy Mays here with a brand new product from the makers of OxiClean. Introducing Kaboom Shower Tub and Tile Cleaner. You know how you get that mineral buildup around your sinks and faucets? Watch how Kaboom magically dissolves this rock-hard calcium right before your eyes. Kaboom is incredibly powerful even though it contains no ammonia or bleach. Use Kaboom on the really tough jobs. The stuff you just go crazy trying to clean. Kaboom quickly attacks calcium and lime deposits, even this greasy grime and buildup, without a lot of hard rubbing and scrubbing. It'll put the shine back in your shower. Kaboom dissolves rust stains right before your eyes, even the really tough stains. Use Kaboom to clean and maintain all of your tile. And look what it does to your shower heads. Kaboom is amazing on fiberglass and shower doors. Use it each time you clean, and you'll never see that buildup again. Kaboom, and the soap scum is gone. If you have ring around the toilet, Kaboom cleans without damaging the surface. Kaboom also removes rust stains and hard water buildup inside your dishwasher. It cleans rust from cement surfaces and quickly removes tarnish from copper and brass. Kaboom will even take years of buildup off this old penny. When you call, you'll receive not one, but two 22-ounce bottles of Kaboom. Two of the jumbo.
It's 50 after the hour and time for our tropical update.
And we begin with a look at your tropical conditions. The enhanced infrared satellite image is really lighting up, even though it's late in the hurricane season. Check out right between Cape Verde and Puerto Rico. That's Tropical Storm Nicholas. Nicholas is actually strengthening, or it's strengthened since the 5 o'clock discussion at least. But I want you to notice how a lot of these clouds are being blown off towards the west. That's still the shear it's encountering. That would be winds that are higher at a higher elevation, or stronger at a higher elevation, or blowing in a different direction than the steering currents. And that's really just knocking over the top of Nicholas. And what that's doing is creating very unfavorable conditions for strengthening. So even though winds are at 60 miles per hour right now, we really expect Nicholas to dissipate quickly. This is the 11 o'clock reading, by the way. Right now, moving north at 2 miles per hour, and this very slow movement really takes Nicholas just about nowhere right through Wednesday while it's weakening. So that means no real danger to land. We're going to take a quick look over at the Pacific, just south of the Gulf of Tehuantepec. We're looking at a group of thunderstorms. It's not organized right now, but it is a chance that we could see some strengthening in this group. And then over to the Philippines, a tropical storm Ketsana. It looks pretty impressive. The Philippines could see some heavy winds, even some heavy rain from this, but it is moving to the north-northwest, so it will not be a factor in the Philippines weather. Bob?
Well, it's time for Storm Watch. Let's find out what's going on. There's really a lack of storm activity in the country, which is great news if you're going to do some leaf peeping. But here's a check of what's going on in terms of what's going on. Let's check it out. The satellite picture, the U.S. satellite composite, and you can see what's going on. We've got wet weather right now as we head toward the northeast and also in the northwest. So please bear that in mind as you make your plans. Here's a check of the jet stream winds. You can see that trough keeping a northwesterly flow alive in the northeast, thus some wetness today, and also that onshore flow getting into Seattle. So we've seen some weakness and some wet weather there. Wet weather moving out in time for the World Series game, but still some around in southern New England, so please be mindful, but no severe weather. And the flow getting into the northwest, you can see in the eastern part of Washington State. That's a check of Storm Watch. Coming up next hour on Weekend Now, we'll give you a look at where you will see the best fall colors.
Right now, we'll leave you with a look at Chicago. Today, well, sunny skies in Chicago anyway. Stay with us.
It's easy to access weather.com on America Online. Just enter keyword weather or point and click. It's so simple you can quickly check the weather online and still have plenty of time left over to get outside and enjoy it. Weather.com on America Online. Keyword weather.
The Weather Channel is brought to you by this cable or satellite provider. You can also get reliable forecasts from the Weather Channel through this radio station.
Tarpaulin gray, the color of the Trane XV90.
The exact color. But this is lacking the heavy steel insulated cabinets for greater heat circulation.
Of course, Mildred, it's a blouse. I'll tell you, not every furnace has a variable speed motor to prevent torque pulsations.
Torque pulsations? That's making me frisky.
Must be some furnace. The Trane XV90. It's hard to stop a train. Now you can get up to $1,000 cash back on a complete Trane XLI system. Rebates on other products will vary. Offer ends soon. Call participating dealer for details.
See your yellow pages for the Trane dealer nearest you.
Psst, Paolo, acqua da benedire, corri, corri.
Paolo,
sono in missione.
The all-new Nissan Quest is here. Get ready for Girls' Night Out.
Meet Mark. Mark marks. Meet Mark's mom, Peg. Peg pledges. Pledge, Peg, pledge. See Pledge remove Mark's marks? Pledge wipes away these greasy fingerprints and smudges better than Swiffer dusters. Pledge even removes marker marks. See Peg's parlors shine?
Expect fair skies Tuesday through Thursday.
with temperatures in the 70s on Tuesday.
Okay, hello, it's 10 minutes to the top of the hour. That means it's time for the tropical update. Let's head right to the maps and see what we have going on. Before we see all the systems we have brewing, well, not all the systems, we do have a couple systems to speak of. Let's talk about the origin of tropical systems from October 11th to the 20th. We're getting towards the end of the season. November 30th marks the end of the official hurricane season. And you can see now our focus for development, it shifts back to the Caribbean Sea, also closer to the lower 48. We start to see the systems taper off around the Cape Verde area. So you can see our focus will continue to be really throughout the entire Atlantic basin, but typically in the past, majority of the systems from October 11th to the 20th have developed in and around the Caribbean. That's where we've seen the most tropical development. What's going on right now? Well, it looks like the Caribbean is quiet, and this is where we have Nicholas, Tropical Storm Nicholas, swirling around, and that's all we have going on here in the Atlantic basin. We do have some clouds, and that's in association with a frontal system that actually will interact with Nicholas as the system continues to move off to the north. Let's have a closer look at Nicholas. Well, it really is starting to weaken. Not looking so good here. It continues to get sheared, and the low-level circulation, well, we don't have the convection on top of the low-level circulation, so that's not very good for development. So you can see the cloud tops, the oranges and the yellows, that means the higher the cloud tops are. And you can see those colors, they aren't very fierce at the last few frames of this. That means that the convection isn't as strong, so therefore not a good looking system right now. Currently 50 miles per hour, and this is the 5 p.m. advisory, and it's stationary right now, just meandering around in the Atlantic, and it does look like it will continue to move off to the northwest and start to interact with that front that I showed you, those clouds in the Atlantic. It looks like it'll be absorbed by that frontal system. What do we have going on in the Eastern Pacific? Well, we're watching some convection here off the coast of Central America, also into Mexico. If there's any development, it does look like it will be slow, but we will continue to monitor this area, and it's just typical convection. Nothing going on right now. We do have a tropical storm going on here in the Western Pacific, and it looks like this system will continue to head off to the north, and it does look like it could pick up to typhoon status, and it is headed towards Iwo Jima. Okay, that's what's going on in the Atlantic. Let's head back to the lower 48 with Cheryl.
And despite what's happening throughout the tropical regions, at least the weather across the lower 48 remains pretty calm, very quiet. A pretty nice Sunday evening cranking up for most of you. Now, we have had a few areas seeing somewhat busier weather conditions. One of those spots has been across the northeast. A low pressure area sweeping on through. That has touched off some very light rain over portions of southern New England. More importantly, though, in the wake of our low pressure area, some cooler, drier air will start to settle down from Canada. It's going to be quite nippy for tonight. In fact, there could be some scattered frost. And we actually have frost and freeze advisories going up for tonight over portions of southern New England, also too for parts of the lower Hudson Valley. So around New York City, Providence, Hartford, even back towards the Boston metro area, you may want to take in some of those tender plants just in case they may not survive the colder temperatures moving in for tonight. Elsewhere, though, as we head towards the west, another storm system is poised just off the coast, and that will have a big impact on the weather for Washington State and for Oregon. In fact, later on tonight, the rains will start to pick up somewhat, really becoming quite heavy for your Monday. And some of that rain, again, will be very significant. We actually have flash flood watches going up for later on tonight and tomorrow over portions of the Pacific Northwest. As we check out the northeast, though, we've had some very light rain right now pressing off the coast from Cape Cod. Up towards Maine, though, we've had a little bit of rain mixing with some snowfall, at least for the higher elevations. But most of this is quickly tapering off as our low-pressure system continues to pull out to sea. For the Pacific Northwest, still rather messy, rather sloppy. Still some light rain coming down for Seattle. And actually, that rain is just a sample of things to come. A far more energetic storm system is poised off the coast. And again, that will promise to bring in some very heavy rains by tomorrow. Of course, another huge story as far as the western half of the country is concerned has been record-breaking heat. Believe it or not, yesterday, over 85 record highs were set. We had a few more record highs that were set again today. And unfortunately, for the next couple of days, if you're not too terribly fond of the hot weather, you're not going to like the forecast because that